so much for staying with us here on Sport On. Remember, you can talk to us. Hey, Sikho, you can talk to us. It is hashtag SportOn405, and that's where you can find us on Twitter. You can also follow us at SportOn405, and that's where you'll get daily updates and as far as what is happening in the world of sport. And of course, the Rugby World Cup is top of the headlines from now up until sometime in November. We're still continuing with Tando Mhlongo here, Unjomani, joining me in the studio, and we are talking about the Rugby World Cup, and we are zooming in right now into the Springboks win over Namibia. 13 changes, Tando. 13. Did you think it was a good decision in terms of continuity or lack thereof? Or was it good to just give other players that probably won't play the bigger games a chance?
Perfect decision. I'll give credit to the coach there. You don't want to select players, a squad of 31 players, and you don't believe in every player that's there. So I'll give credit to him. That's a smart decision. And at least you want players, when you get to the knockout stages, you want to have all your players having had the taste of the World Cup, you know, and in terms of finding their form, adjusting to all the external factors. So,
and you don't want players that are completely new to a tournament.
Man, they might cost you
at the latter stages, yeah.
So that's a perfect decision, you know, and also rotating the captaincy. However, you know, you can't be spot on with your selection in terms of the squad, you know, the general squad now. I don't know, maybe it's me. I don't know what Franz Steyn is doing there. You know, it could have been an opportunity for someone else that is up and coming.
Like who?
There are so many players in South Africa. For as long as we're taking Skak Brits at hooker, we're
and
playing
put him at number 8.
All right, and still give him the captaincy. I wouldn't give you a name right now. I just saw a guy now on TV, Madosh. He's one of the current informed players that is playing for the Lions. Yeah. So even if you're not playing him at center, you're playing him at wing, it would have still been an opportunity and experience. You look at Beast, for example, you're selecting him for what? For history. Yeah. You know, you can't select players for history books. There's Ox Noche that should be, you know, be blended in. What happened to Lizo? Lizo should be part of that. So these are the things, minor things, that brings about this stability within the camp. We are not a young. I also observed a couple of things in today's game. You see now, it's well and good to rotate your center of power in terms of captaincy. However, it's not a good thing when it gets to that level, World Cup. Yeah. What happened today after the match? Skalk was calling the guys this side and Zia was calling the guys that side.
Oh, no.
Little things that you pick up when you part and parcel of the game.
Maybe there might be issues, maybe not yet, but maybe as the World Cup gets older, there might be issues with different camps.
Now we're talking about an international event, then your captain, post-match interview, then he speaks in Afrikaans. You see, this culture thing and history, I'm telling you, as a country, that's why I'm saying as a country, we can't be, some of us, we can't be chuffed, you know, thumping Namibia. Who's Namibia after all? You know, I want to play against Namibia and with the different tactics on the day, different game plan. You can't play a kicking game against Namibia. That's where we want to see the flair. That's where we want to see the guys expressing themselves. And that's where you're pushing your guys, their level of confidence, you know, slightly higher. But with today's game, I can assure you, those guys, they know deep down that this is not our A game. Having won the game.
Was this, in your view, a second-string team? Was it a B side? I personally don't think so.
Look, for me, this is my A side.
This is what I was saying earlier today.
For me, this is my A side. Trapped in a wrong game plan. Yeah. With the correct game plan, playing the same team today, you ought to get, you know, 10 times.
Would you have played this team last week against New Zealand?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You know why? We didn't lose the game last week because of the tactics and whatnot, but we selected the wrong players. We look at the physique of the New Zealanders. Are they big? They're not. Their strengths, are they playing according to the size or are they playing according to the skill level and flair? They play according to that. They still, one-on-one, they're able to beat their defenders, just like that. So when you select your team, you want to create that balance. You know, you can't just come and say, okay, I want to frustrate them. We want to slow position down. We want to slow the tempo of the game down. It's not attractive. New Zealanders, they were given the tag, chokers. They would get to the World Cup, you know, having won all their matches prior, but they will choke when they get there. However, you still had the following. Everybody used to talk about New Zealanders. So there's two things.
Was it the flamboyance?
We want
flair?
to see the flamboyance. We want to see the level of fanciness. We want to see players being creative. For us, as the guys that are entrusted with responsibilities of developing rugby in communities where rugby used not to be played before, we want to say to them, because I'll tell you now, I'm sorry to be blunt, but black people and this game plan that the Springboks are playing now, we'll never see more black players coming through into that national setup. But once we play a modern game...
Is it designed for white players?
Exactly. That's what it is. I'm sitting here and, you know, there was a time where I wasn't watching the Springboks because I can't be watching people bashing onto each other, you know, for 80 minutes. I feel it's stupid. I want to go there and watch and see that, you know, someone had taken pride in preparing this team. Even these players, they're going out of their way to express exactly how they feel inside. You ask those guys now how they feel. They're not even sure. They're in 6s and 7s. They're not even sure. Because they are basically restricted into someone's plan. And the coach, he's the head coach, right?
Yeah, Rassie.
Who's the director of rugby?
No, is he? Because he's the one, yeah.
He's the director of rugby and head coach. Structurally, are we being correct? Alistair Coetzee was the head coach. Who was the director of rugby?
He wasn't the director
Rugby.
of rugby.
And Rassie Erasmus was the director of rugby. Now we have a director of rugby and a head coach.
All in one.
These are the things that we can't be ashamed of. We need to say these things. It's conversations that we need to have, you know, week in and out. Let's question these things. You are a head coach, you are a director of rugby. That means you are god of rugby. Okay.
What if the solution to our problems? Remember a couple of seasons ago, we had a terrible time on the international front. Has it not worked bringing Rassie in?
We had a terrible time. Who brought about that? Was it Saru or the coach? Alistair wasn't the problem. Alistair didn't even set up his management team. He had to inherit the coaches. With Rassie, he didn't inherit anybody, or he appointed those guys. So when you are actually treating people, you should have, you know, same and consistent basis. If Alistair was given an ample opportunity to select or choose his own management team, then you had, you know, all the right to judge him. But I'll be blunt again, it's a racial issue.
You know, Tando, you are bringing up big points, and I wanted to talk about Soweto. I wanted to talk about Soweto Eagles, but I want to give you an opportunity here to talk about what happens then in the Springboks side. There was no real expectation to say you guys are going to go and win the World Cup this year. Was it something that was created to protect certain individuals in your view?
Benji,
that if you fail there, we're still fine?
Benji, I just painted a scenario to you that where do you find the head coach being a director of rugby? That's one. The previous coach failed. Using the same players, he gave opportunities to a couple of players. They got to become Springboks through the same coach. But the coach is not good enough. And people will tell you it's the tactics or the game plan. There's, you know, go out there and play a game plan and let's see if you're going to win the World Cup. You don't go out there and play the game plan and win the World Cup. You go out there and play the situation, then you're able to win the World Cup.
The way we're playing, can we win the World Cup?
Which one?
With this system that, okay.
Dream all you want.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna dream. I'm gonna dream about winning the World Cup. But should we pick these players and play the right system with them rather than play the wrong system with the players we played last week? Then we can win the World Cup.
You know what is happening? You look at South Africa when they played prior to the World Cup. They played rugby that we all supported. Now, they're at the World Cup, they're trying to change the tactics because people, they must protect their jobs. They must protect the image of South African rugby. You know what? Compromise the image of South African rugby, lose in 2019 World Cup, but then you know the following World Cup, you have a formidable plan and formidable team to compete at that level.
Okay. Tando, we are fast running out of time. So basically what you're saying is that it's a win, and a win is a win, but let's remember it's Namibia.
Exactly.
Okay. Quickly, what's happening with the work that you're doing out in Soweto?
Look, it's never easy developing rugby in the townships. Obviously, no one is interested. When you look at what you call the federations, and you know, we basically see where the Lions are. Everybody's, you know, chuffed with the Lions' achievements over the couple of years. But one question that you can ask whoever at the Lions within the hierarchy, what is it that they're doing for developing communities? And the answer you'll find is nothing. So that basically, that's a major challenge. We are passionate about the game. We know why we are here. We know the bigger picture. That's why we're actually hanging in there. And we're not just using rugby. In fact, we've gone past the stage of saying you will become professional players. We're using rugby only as a tool to transform the youth, you know, with the social ills that they get to face.
All right. Tando, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your strong views, and we are looking forward to seeing a couple of players that are coming from your systems there out in Soweto. That's Tando Mhlongo from the Soweto Eagles Rugby Club talking to us about what has transpired at the Rugby World Cup today with Japan facing or beating Ireland and the Springboks beating Namibia thereafter. Not too impressed with the opposition, but nonetheless happy with the win. We take a short break. When we come back, we talk about bikes. I want one. Perhaps at the end of that discussion, I'll be owning a bike. Stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Sport on 405. We are live from our studios in Linden, Johannesburg, and we are going to be with you up until the hour 5 p.m. Central African time, just about 30 minutes from now. So if you're just joining us, you missed an entire half hour of the show. But don't be afraid, because we still have other things to talk about. And you can tweet us. It is hashtag SportOn405 on Twitter. Also follow us there at SportOn405 to get daily updates of everything that we are chatting about and everything that is big in the world of sport. I'm joined now in studio by Murungwa Mahope, and she is a biker, a super biker. Am I correct?
A super bike racer.
How did this begin? Because I'm thinking I want a bike, but it's not because I want to race. It's because I just want, you know, the vroom, it's nice to have a bike.
It is nice. I think you started where I also started. That was in 2013. All I wanted was a bike.
Yeah.
And I wanted a bike to ride to work, to dodge, to miss the traffic. From Pretoria to Sandton. So, and the sound, I mean, it sounds so nice. So I nagged the family about getting a bike, and it took some convincing to allow me to actually get on a bike.
Yeah.
That's before I even started racing. So I was on my bike for a good 2 years, riding.
Were you married at the time?
Yes.
So you had to now go and speak to
please,
and say,
family. So I started with my husband, and then he was terrified. And I mean, to this day, yeah, he also, I convinced him. To this day, it's still scary to see people on bikes. But you know what, I think with the right attitude, we should get people safe on the road. So when I started the family, I mean, I knew no one in the family who was riding. Yeah. So even my sisters were like, a mother of 3, who's going to take care of your kids? Who's going to take care of your family? So it was a life-changing decision that I had to make. But I managed to convince them. And the good thing where I started on a small bike. So it was a 250, which is good for a beginner. I think you should start there.
Yeah, you'll tell me about all the specs and whatever I need to know to get started. But now you're on a bike for just for fun, right? You're on a bike. How do you find out that you can actually make it a sport and actually be competitive in it?
For that 2 years, I used to ride with a group of bikers, Limpopo Eagles. So those were guys on big machines. So when I'm on a 250, they were on like 1,000 bike, a 600 bike. So, and I was the only female in riding with the guys. So we did breakfast runs where we go have breakfast, enjoy machines. And the one day we had a trip to Mpumalanga and we enjoyed the service. So the curves there are a dream. I'm on a 250, they are on big bikes, but I enjoyed it more than they did because I was just flowing on the curves. And a friend of mine with a group of those guys, and then he said, you know what, I see you enjoying, because he was doing a trek at that moment. And then he said, I see you enjoying and you're flowing with your bike. You want to try trek riding and then take it from there. And then I went to a trek, which is a circuit where you ride. Don't worry about tracks. So I went, one day I went there and then I met a young racer, Temba Kumalo, and he was racing professionally. And then I followed the sport from then. I didn't know about the sport. From that day, I followed the sport for a good year before I could even think about racing. And that's where my journey of racing began. Okay, where are you now? How do you rank now? Are you like terrifyingly good? Are you... Maybe we should ask other racers, but I am good. I mean, not to blow my own horn, but blow it, please. Blow it. I think when I started, obviously I was at the back of the grid. Like, this is like Namba Msela, like the last person. And then the first person will lap me. And that is like, terrifying when you race. They're like, go past you, and then that is like... What would you do in that moment? Because I'm thinking, if the first person laps me and I'm still on my first lap, I would actually give up. I'd actually say, sorry, it's okay. If you had an ego, you will park your bike and say, no more racing. But I continue and I said, you know what, this is something that I'm passionate about. And then the passion just grew. And I wanted to do more and get better. And at the moment, I'm doing so good that I'll be on pole and getting podiums, and it's very, very rewarding to see like how I've progressed, and I'm enjoying myself at the moment. One thing that we cannot hide, Murongwa, is that it's difficult for women to get into such spaces, and it's more difficult for black women to get into such spaces. Was it easy for you to start with? Was it something that you found seamless, or you had to jump over some hurdles in terms of you being a female and being a black female on top of that? I would say I had the support that I needed. I mean, I'm a working mother, I'm a working wife, so the family supported me. And what I needed to do was to spend time at the track, and I did that. I mean, I had to invest in myself. I invested in training. I invested in riding more. And I mean, when I started racing, I was 33. So I had to do double what people were doing. So I had to learn track riding. Because they started like 12 years ago. At 12, 7, So for me, it was a bit difficult being a woman. And the good thing is in this sport, it's not about whether you're a lady or a guy. I mean, we race together, yeah. So there will be bullies at the track, but you know what, you bully back. You don't cry and say, you know what, I'm going home, I'm picking my
hold your own.
Yeah, true.
Okay, you speak about support a lot in our chat here. So what I'm gonna try and do is bring the person that I think is your number one supporter. I'm gonna bring your husband into our chat and find out how it's been for him to have a wife that is racing. Let's have him in. Please come and join us, sir. Please come this side. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, thank you.
Please introduce yourself first for us so that people know, and the ones that are watching at home, don't say, is it him?
Okay, I'm James Mahope, the husband to Murunga Mahope, also known as Mo83.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
That's what she's known for.
So, Brad James.
Sure.
If my wife came and said, I want to now race, I'm thinking, you know, safety first. That's the first thing I'm thinking. How was it for you?
Probably the way you said, that's what I said as well. Exactly what I said. Like she mentioned earlier on, it took some convincing. It took a couple of months, if I'm not mistaken, a year or two for her to convince me to.
And you were like, no, you were consistently saying, it's not happening.
Bikes are dangerous, yeah. But once you get into it, it's really fun.
And then finally you were like, okay, well,
yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Okay, but I understand you guys also have a daughter who also.
Yes, races. We do. If you think Mo is good, Murunga is good. You haven't seen Sule. Yeah, she's much more braver than her mom, eh? She's 12 years old. Mommy has to think about,
But how do you get onto a bike at 12?
You can even get onto a bike at 7. There's kids that are
no, guys, but 12 years old, and she's even better than the mom.
Yeah. Simply because of, it's all about the fear factor.
Yeah.
She's fearless. She knows she doesn't have bills to pay. She doesn't have to go to work. Mommy and daddy will fix the bike.
She doesn't have a kid or husband to think of.
Yes.
Or try and convince anyone.
No, exactly, yeah.
And you also got into the space.
Yeah, I also got a bike, but I don't race. I tried to do a couple of track days, but I'm just not as brave as the two of them. And I said, you know what, I'll just sit back, support you guys, because obviously you are much more talented, you are much more braver than what I am. And yeah, I let them shine. I shine through them.
Okay, so in one of the things I read about you, Marung, was that you want to be the first black woman to compete in the national champs, SA national champs. Is this true?
It is true, and it's going to happen very soon. Because when I started, I was like, maybe a year before I hang the boots, I will give it a try. But the pace I am going and the time that I've invested, I actually feel like it's 5 steps away, and it's definitely going to happen. And the challenge in the past used to be the bike, and because I have a sponsored bike from Ducati South Africa, which I'm grateful for. I think it's going to happen next year or the year after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, it will be the daughter in the national champs.
Definitely.
A family affair.
No, definitely. It's happening.
Okay, did you guys bring a bike here? Must I go outside and test drive?
No, unfortunately.
You guys.
No. Like I told you, you need a 250. We can start on a 250.
Oh, so the ones that you guys have are a level above now.
No. We can't trust you yet. 250.
So you guys are too good for me now. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. It's been lovely to have you. And Brad James, just what would you like to say to her in terms of support? You probably say it to her all the time, and she knows it. But what would you like to say so that all of us as guys in South Africa and all over the continent, because we're live all over the continent, know that it's not as scary as it looks or sounds?
Well, from my side, I'd just like to say I'm very proud of her. She knows I'm very proud of her. And yeah, all her dreams that she would like to aspire to will definitely come true. for the dedication that she's got and all the hard work she's putting in. I mean, she literally dreams, sleeps, eats bikes. She's every day, as many times as possible on the track. So yeah, I just want to say, keep pushing, Ms. Scott. You're definitely going to make achieve those dreams. And for anybody out there, especially guys who want, I just want to say, please support the women in your lives.
Yeah.
I've got a wife and a daughter who's doing something that I'm not doing, but I'm on the track every day with them. I'm supporting them. And like I said, I'm shining through them. If they don't shine, I don't shine. And yeah, so keep on supporting the women in your lives.
Eish, James and Murunga, Mahope, couple goals. There's no stuff like my next here. So it's support all the way. Thank you so much for coming through. I was hoping that you guys are bringing a bike and I'll be able to. So apparently,
no,
I just need a 250. I don't know what a 250 is. I'll get some information. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks
for your time.
Us.
That's James and Murunga Mahope joining us and talking to us about the world of super biking. We're taking a short break. When we come back, it's cricket time. Stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with Sport On, and it's the Saturday edition. We're just about to go. That is our final segment of the show, but we have time for just one more thing, and we're going to be chatting cricket with Titans CEO Jacques Faul. Thank you so much, Jacques, for joining us here on the show. It's been a very successful ride for you at the Titans over the past couple of years. You've seen title after title, and this was at the back of a short spell at Cricket South Africa. And you managed, it's been what, 7 years?
Yeah,
at
7 years
at
now,
the
yeah.
Titans. What's been the major catalyst in how things have turned around in your time?
We have good people that work for us, and we needed a bit of luck on the field, which we had. You need good players, you need good coaches. I think the franchise system is closer than people think. So, excuse me, we were just, also fortunate to have tight games go our way. And once you've got confidence, it breeds more confidence. That's the way sports work. Good commercial support from our sponsors, and a good pipeline. A good school system. We hope, to develop that even more. So yeah. I got to be honest, just as you think you're on top of the world, there's a lot of things that bring you down. Like I said, there's some other wonderful teams out there as well that plays good cricket.
And there's also been multiple awards that are coming through for players, for coaches, for the team as a whole. So it all boils down to that sort of closely knit family that you're talking about, isn't it?
Our president, during a launch of the Sky Blue Trust, said that we've been doing really, really well. But our president's an amazing man, Tebogo Siku. He said, "I also now tell you got to be humble." So I think that's what we got to realize. We've had a lot of awards, Coaches of the Year, Groundsman of the Year. But at the end of the day, every season you start without a trophy. You start without an award, so it all starts with a naught, and hence we're just trying to improve our processes all the time. Sports in the public sector, we get scrutinized, which is right, and if we get it wrong, we got to take it on the chin. South Africa is a fantastic country with a lot of opportunities, but there's also a lot of challenges, and same for cricket. And I think the way we're looking at our future is by establishing things like a Sky Blue Trust that will look at educational needs in terms of women's empowerment, differently abled cricket, and then also, providing education for talented players. And that's important. You will never win everything always, but, sport's still the fairy tale. So if we can create an opportunity where people, even if they don't make it as great cricketers, but can gain education out of it, that is our focus. So as much as we think it's just about winning trophies, I think it's producing players for South Africa and, taking sports to people, changing communities, bringing communities closer to each other. Sport can be the greatest diplomat and social worker on earth. So that to me is also a role that's important to us.
I'm interested in the point you made about also contributing towards the development of the game for women. How far are you with that in the pipeline?
I think women, the profile of the women's game's picked up quite a lot. We honoured probably our most famous women's player, Mignon de Pree, by naming a gate in her honour. Now, naming a gate in cricket is an old thing, a very English thing as well. You talk about the Grace Gates at Lord's. And if you asked me 20 years ago if we would have ever named a gate in honour at a major stadium like Supersport Park to honour the contribution of a women's player, it probably never would have happened. But not enough is done, I guess, on grassroots levels and also perception-wise. I think Cricket South Africa has gone out of their way to look after women's cricket, to lift the profile. I think the CEO has been brilliant at it. He's one of the, I'd say somebody that actually actively promotes that we've got to look after our women's cricket, and that's the way to go. You need leaders to do it. Yeah. You know, if you ask the women, they wanted it for years. You need leaders to do that as well.
Speaking of Mignon de Pree, we need to congratulate her for her latest milestone in as far as the Proteas are concerned. She recently reached 1,500 runs in T20 cricket in a T20 match against India. I think that was their last match or something. So another thing that you've been credited with a lot, Jacques, is how the Titans have managed to be one of the major feeders to the national team. And it goes way back to the days of de Villiers. It goes to, there's a lot of players, the Mokels as well, that were playing their domestic cricket at Supersport Park, and they were permanent fixtures in the national team.
You've got to credit the schools first. I think we've got a very good school system and school coaches, fantastic schools. And then also our university, I think, is very, very strong. University of Pretoria, so that's usually where they come from. They don't just arrive as professional players. They've got to come through a pipeline. We've been fortunate to be able to identify good young players. We gave Lungi Ngidi a bursary to come to University of Pretoria, and he excelled from there. And then players that come through your pipeline. I mean, Junior Dala came from our affiliate in Easterns. I mean, fantastic players. So it's professional sport. You get some people coming through your own pipeline. Some people you give a chance, an opportunity, you bank on them. And I think that is wonderful. But also support personnel. Tumi Masekela is now the strength and conditioning coach for the Proteas. Volvo Masabalela is the logistical manager. He worked for us. Eddie Corza was our manager. So we seem to graduate a lot of people. But again, for me, that's what we should do. You know, it cannot be just a selfish focus to win domestic trophies. You know, we're all South Africans. We want to do well. These are the heroes of tomorrow. I always tell the story that Lungi, when he debuted at Supersport Park, he took 2 wickets and over, and he walked back to the grandstand. The old grandstand got up. I still get goosebumps saying it now. And that's sport. That's a fairy tale. Somebody that became almost famous in 1 weekend. Yeah. And you know, South Africans are hard markers, but let me tell you now, sport is busy transforming this country in a wonderful way and giving hope.
Jacques, we've got just under 2 minutes left in our chat. I want to talk about how domestic cricket, however successful you guys are as the Titans or the Lions can do what they did recently as well.
Done well. Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that the numbers are not looking good at the stadiums. Bums on seats in domestic cricket. Yeah. We have a serious problem there. How are we at least trying to fix that?
I think the MSL will address it. We've cannibalized the game. There's just too much of it, isn't it? There's also overlapping. We're starting MSL just on the back of a Rugby World Cup. There's rugby, soccer, cricket going on in one season. So that is the problem. But I think the MSL is a sincere effort to get people back into the stadiums. It's top players. We've seen now, if you have top players in a top competition, people come. 2020 is a good format. People like it. We invite people. But there's just too much cricket. We're still thankful for the support, but there's just too much. Hopefully the Boxing Day in December with England here will be well supported. We're looking forward to that. So people are looking at marquee events. But we hope that also reaching out to communities never been to cricket. It's important to us. That's how you're going to grow the game. And we invite people. We've been fortunate that our finals are sold out, our internationals sold out. For domestic games, I also believe we've got to sell the game on a lower level. People got to love the game.
All right, Jacques, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to that Boxing Day test at Centurion. It's one ground that has a lot of grass banks. I think in the world, I don't think there's a ground like Supersport Park that has such a major piece of it being grass bank. So it's a wonderful way to spend your afternoon when it's the festive season and you can watch good cricket there. Jacques Faul, CEO of the Titans, thank you so much for your time. And that's our time here on the show for this afternoon. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the past hour or so. Thanks to Tando Mshongo as well as Morongwa Mahope who were here on the show this afternoon. We'll see you again tomorrow. My name is Benjamin Leshoro, Mtwana ya Mozo.